Diddly-diddly-doo. All right, this is episode 6 of Derp Talk. We actually made it to 6 episodes finally. This is this not so regularly scheduled program. This week is pre-orders, DLCs, and expansions. Um, Accordingly, for those watching live and are able to watch the always present video game accompaniment to the live version, I will be playing with Zahn some BattleNet on Diablo 2. Um, in order to sort of solidify my practically non-existent credentials, um, this is not the version you can buy on Blizzard's website, nor is this the version you can just walk into, get with the battle chest at any goddamn Best Buy in the country. No, this I bought separately. Well, my dad bought separately back when it came out. I believe actually, I think we bought both Diablo 2 and the expansion pack at CompUSA. You guys remember CompUSA? Or did you not have
Oh,
CompUSAs in your areas? Swear to God, if you tell me you didn't have CompUSA, I'm gonna have to hurt all of you. CompUSA was amazing.
yeah, okay.
Well, I guess we get to hurt Zahn. That's okay, he's Canadian. As you've noticed, I've been talking to Zahn in Flux and not Red Fox in Flux. Red Fox unfortunately has been having some issues with his ISP. He's got a startup ISP that keeps getting bullied by the big ISP in the neighborhood, and unfortunately that causes issues with
That's actually, so we're just trying to cover for him. I actually tore out his heart and ate it. Therefore, I
well,
have now gained the power of Red Fox.
you know, what people don't realize is Flux is secretly Kano, but you know. Yeah.
It was tasty.
Red Fox is having internet issues, so Zahn has graciously agreed to fill in, although Zahn's always welcome. Although
Yeah.
usually we record at times when Zahn's away because he's on wacky Canadian time.
Yep.
And by wacky Canadian time, I mean he's over on the opposite coast from the most rest of us. I mean, Red Fox is an hour behind. I think he's only an hour behind me in Fluxen, but Zahn's like a whole. I think he's 3 hours. I think you're 3 hours behind us, aren't you?
Something like that.
So
I
what?
live in mountain time.
Oh, you live in Mountain Time. All right, so it's only four in the evening for you then.
Yeah, barely
Yeah,
nothing.
fair enough. It's not like it's 3 in the afternoon there. All right. Yeah. While I figure out where the fuck we're going. All right, I got tools to trade. Um, Pre-orders, DLC, expansions. Um, Back in the day, I think there really only was expansions. I don't really remember too many pre-order stuff back in the 90s and 2000s when I first started to play games. Granted, at that time it was mostly Game Boy and the odd PC game here and there. I mean, my PC gaming at the time pretty much existed mostly of playing Lego Island so many times that looking back, it amazes me I found that much enjoyment out of a game as simple as Lego Island. I don't have the waypoint, whatever. I'm in the Darkwood, by the way. It's on. And
Oh, okay.
so what usually happened is expansion packs, and expansion packs were very rare, as I recall, for the most part. Um, Obviously, Diablo 2 had an expansion pack, a great expansion pack, in the sense that each part of Diablo is broken up into an act. Each act is roughly the same length. You can argue Act 4 only has 3 quests and is therefore shorter, while every other act has 6. I would argue that by no means makes Act 4 any quicker. Um,
No.
Act 4 is a big area. I mean, you usually have to go through 3 or 4 different zones before you get to each quest. So, yeah, I got a bit of the sniffles lately, so excuse me.
Yeah, one of the big companies I can think of that pre-orders was Blizzard. I mean, not pre-orders, expansion packs.
Yeah, Blizzard loved
They
expansion
did it
packs.
for Diablo, and they did it for Warcraft 2, they did it for Warcraft 3,
Actually, I think they've
they
done it
did
for
it
all
for
3 Diablos.
StarCraft.
I believe Diablo 1 also had an expansion pack.
They did not do the one for Diablo 1.
No?
No,
that
that
was
was
someone else.
Oh, okay. I'll increase my tankiness.
But yeah, pretty much anything you can think of that Blizzard has most PC things Blizzard has made. I'll save that because there aren't any Lost Vikings expansions. Pretty much has an expansion.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
That's how Blizzard operates, and I don't think Blizzard has ever really screwed that up. Unlike
Oh,
a
it's
lot of people have done with DLC. Back in the day, expansion packs were a fairly simple concept. It was an expansion to the game, and it was usually sizable. As I was saying with Diablo, each act in Diablo is roughly the same size. The expansion pack not only adds an entire fifth act to the game, which caps off the story, because it left it a cliffhanger originally, which was originally done deliberately because they were planning Lord of Destruction when it came out. They just didn't have the time to make it. And to give them that breathing room to spend the several years to make it. It sounds so weird these days to say it's several years to make something for a game. um,
back in
eventually,
those days.
it was what?
It took time to make a
They
video
took time making
game.
their games.
It is Blizzard. Several years is not that much.
Fair enough. I mean,
They took 10 years to make another Diablo.
well, that's. I mean, even Diablo 2 Lord of Destruction, the expansion pack took 3 to 5 years to come out. I mean, Diablo 2 was by no means a new game by the time the expansion pack came out. But the expansion pack added not only an act, it added a whole new loot table, a complete redesigned loot table rather, with brand new loot,
Two new classes.
2 new classes, a bunch of different new types of enemies for giving enemies abilities when unique enemies and champion enemies spawn. I think it actually added the concept of unique enemies outside of bosses, because I don't think there were unique non-bosses before that.
Very few, and I think most of them were already determined, like mini bosses.
Yeah, they're basically mini bosses like Griswold and Tristram and
Cold Raven, I think that was her name. The rogue that
No,
you have to kill, the undead rogue.
no, she was a boss. That's the entire second quest of Act 1. Go kill Bloodraven.
Oh, that's true. There was also this spiny
that's
fiend.
literally the name of the quest. Kill Bloodraven.
But she's not that hard. I don't consider her a boss.
No, the other one would have been the although you can't really call her boss, but you can't really call her mini boss either. Is the bitch from the Forgotten Tower quest?
Oh, the Countess.
The Countess.
Yeah. There was also some dude hiding in the temple. He was like a spiked fiend, but they removed him in the expansion.
Yeah, but yeah.
So I think it's like Flames.
Yeah, they added a lot of these things that really added replay. It made you not only want to play the new act, it made you want to go start a new character and play again, because everything played differently, and multiplayer became much more exciting at that point, because that's when they started introducing the Uber event.
Mm-hmm.
For those who don't know, the Uber event was if you were playing on ladder, and I think you can get on non-ladder too, but only unique to your world. On ladder, any world has the potential of starting what's called the Pandemonium event. The Pandemonium event is essentially a boss rush mode for Diablo, where you have super versions of bosses. Who a couple of them are meant to be, at least one of them is meant to be another character. Lilith replaces Adariel in the boss rush, and she's actually supposed to be the Diablo version of Lilith, who's the mother of most demons.
Yeah.
And I think she's also the mother of all the lesser and the greater evils. And the mother of mankind. A little tidbit there. About Diablo lore. And that was an interesting thing, because it had this whole boss rush thing with cool loot, and you didn't have that before the expansion pack. But then expansion packs kind of went away. For the longest...
Hold up. I actually know. I can actually point out to you where expansion packs slowly stopped becoming expansion packs and became DLC. Anyone want to take a guess?
Oh, I don't know.
Very prominent game series.
I am going to blame a Microsoft console for this, probably.
You can blame PC. Very popular game series. Sims.
Oh.
Sims. Yes. I will state, Sims started the whole DLCs thing. Sims had expansion packs, and slowly by slowly, like the original Sims, I haven't played any of the other ones, but original Sims had like what, 10, 15 expansion packs adding new things into the game because they just kept adding more and more things.
Right.
So eventually, it's like we can't keep selling these things as full-fledged games, so we need an easier way to do it. And
Sims 2.
over time, things became smaller and smaller, so you get DLC.
That's a good point because the Sims one, the Sims expansions they varied in size for the first Sims. There were big ones, there were little ones, there were ones that were like so insignificant that you questioned why you got them afterwards. And they realized that people bought all that, so they decided let's do that again with Sims 2. And then of course Sims 3, famous for just how many DLC does Sims 3 have now?
Far too many.
Does anyone have Steam open right now to look? Because that's going to be a terrifyingly depressing number of DLC. And so many of them completely unwarranted. Yeah. And yeah, I agree. Sims probably started it. Like I said, for the longest time, it just died out.
There are 10 expansion packs for Sims 3.
Okay. I hesitate to call
9
half of those
packs.
Yep. What else?
And then
I know there's more than that. I know there's more than that.
11 things in the store that you can buy.
So that's what 20, 30 things that are paid content, and I would rate maybe a half dozen of those at most as being actual expanded content, in the sense that like the ones that add new towns and things like that did. I can't carry anymore. Like fuck, you can't carry anymore. But yeah,
yes,
that's
slowly,
the issue.
Slowly things got away from making big things and to making just small little additional things you can buy. And that's, I don't know, that's okay sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes that's cool.
There's nothing inherently wrong with it.
I like the idea of a developer being able to continue working on their game and adding more things to it after the make date.
Right.
Because before, you pretty much only had expansion that was going to ever update your game, really. Once you had it, that's it. Nothing's going to change. That's it. That was okay times, but sometimes it wasn't that fun.
Some games felt like they needed just that little bit more. Like if they had had more time to add a few more content or polish up a few things, it could have been great. And back in the day, you didn't get that polish that you get sometimes now. And that's what started the downside thing, because early DLC was very hit or miss. As they kind of tried to figure out what DLC was. And certainly there's been plenty of examples of patches of just horrible DLC over the years. One of the Street Fighter games being the most notorious for that.
Oh my god. If we're talking about Street Fighter games, we're gonna be here for a whole another episode.
I just want to specifically state, I forget exactly which Street Fighter game it was, I apologize, but it was the one that I think started the trend of making DLC better, because DLC was progressively getting horrid once they kind of figured out what it was, and what it was, for a lot of people, equated to money machine. We'll pack these increasingly smaller and smaller content packs, essentially, in for increasing amounts of money. And it culminated in one of the Street Fighter games coming out and saying, okay, no one has an alternate costume at all. Not even if you're playing two as the same character. They're going to be perfectly identical, and good luck telling each other apart. You want to tell each other apart? Here's $5 packs of 2 characters each. By the way, it's one of the biggest rosters we've ever had in a Street Fighter game. So, I mean, they were looking at a roster of 20 to 30 characters. $5 each per 2 characters to unlock alternate costumes.
But granted, anyone knew that was stupid, because if you know Street Fighter, you know they're just going to come out with another version of 2 within a year and add another suffix to it.
But here's the thing that really killed people. All of them came out as day 1 DLC.
Yeah.
If they'd come out slowly over time, people might not have noticed. But, Capcom got greedy and said day one DLC for all alternate costumes, $5 a piece, only 2 characters each. And it's preset which 2 characters were. And it was never characters that had anything to do with each other, as I remember. It was always like, okay, I like this one character I'm getting a costume for, but who the fuck's this other guy? I don't care. Can I get an alternate costume for this guy and this guy because I like both of them? No, why not? Because that's not how we packaged it, replied Capcom essentially. And yeah, no, that was a dark day for DLC, but it was also an eye opener for gamers where they realized, hang on, they might be trying to pull some snake oil salesman bullshit on us. And DLC began to improve. A good
Now,
example of
hold up.
DLC, definitely. Go ahead.
Hold up. I want to make a point here. We said day one DLC was bad in this case. I will fight the case that day one DLC is not bad. Because of the knowledge that a game does get finished a good
Yeah, yeah.
4 or 5 months before it's released, and the rest of it's just bug testing and advertising. So the developers do have enough time to add more things, but they don't want to add it to the game in case of breaking it, therefore having to delay the game and making a lot of fans upset. So I'm cool with
Exactly.
that.
That's the same concept about old games that patched used to have day one patches for the same reason. It was content that was not put into the game when it was approved for shipping, but was polished up or finished after they'd already begun producing physical copies for eventual sale.
Now, however, on this DLC, I will vehemently fight against because that's just
Yes,
stupid and bullshit.
unless that on disc DLC is something that comes with the game when you just buy it and you get it for free for having bought the game anyway. And it was just added to the disc afterwards for the same reason that day one DLC exists. I can forgive it. If it's just there to make you feel like you got an extra thing out of your game, like, oh, by the way, it also came with this, and here's your little download code to get it. Cool, fine, I'll accept that. Um, I think Dragon Age did that with one of their DLCs.
Yeah, the Stone Prisoner was day one DLC. That was EA's whole thing of
Yeah, I
if you
remember that.
buy the game not pre-order, if you buy the game not used, you get free DLC.
Yeah, if you,
Which I'm okay with.
yeah, you,
It is the
and
prerogative of the developer to make sure people buy it not used.
I remember because
Yeah.
I did get Dragon Age when it came out that Christmas. And it actually it released in time for Christmas too, so that was about as new as I could get it. Um, and yeah, Stone Prisoner was free. And you had to, I think you had to use the code by a certain date.
Nah,
Was the catch?
no, I actually bought a new thing I actually bought Dragon Age New from GameStop, and the Stone Prisoner in there that would have been made 3 years ago still works.
Fair
So,
enough. I know sometimes they say, oh, you got if we give you this free DLC, but only if you bought the game by a certain time and renewed the code. Or not renewed. What's the word? Redeemed.
so DLC can be good or bad.
Yeah.
Just depends on how you're using it.
And
Now,
a good example of good DLC. I remember Flux wanting to point that out by specifically playing a game that does that.
well, hold up, not DLC. That would be when we start talking about season passes.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Um,
Let's talk about pre-orders first.
oh yeah, pre-orders. I hate pre-orders.
I like pre-orders.
I like
I-
pre-orders. Hang on. I will qualify my statement. I like pre-orders when the pre-order is something that you will be able to get anyway without having pre-ordered, but you'll just have to pay extra for it. If I can get that pre-order as not maybe not day one DLC, but within the first few months of launch, if that pre-order DLC comes out as a new DLC you can pay for, I am okay with pre-order DLC. I am not okay with what Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2 did with Juggernaut. Juggernaut could only be unlocked if you pre-ordered at GameStop. That's it. There was no getting Juggernaut any other way. Only the people who pre-ordered at GameStop got Juggernaut. Um,
I've always been a fan of.
I will wait. My wife points out that Hyrule Warriors is doing a similar thing. I am holding off on saying they've done that until they finish putting out DLC for Hyrule Warriors, because for all I know, they will eventually put the GameStop DLC for sale as they have done with other games with GameStop DLC.
Yeah. But
I've
at
always
least with those were just skins. They weren't
They weren't an
like
actual character like Juggernaut
yeah,
was.
they were just kind of a skin thing. So I'd
Yeah,
be
you
truly
could
disappointed if I never got them.
yeah I could excuse skins for that to a minor extent. Um, I think there were some skins that were pre-order only for Space Marines that were really cool skins that looked much better than any of the default skins, and not being able to have those skins is a bit irksome, you know. It's not necessarily something I could openly say like I absolutely hate because I don't have these, but it's certainly something where I can kind of bemoan the fact that they've cock blocked me from having those skins because I didn't pre-order it.
Yeah.
And I'm a guy who doesn't like to pre-order very often unless I usually only pre-order if I'm going to be getting a pre-order benefit of some sort, or if I already know I'm going to enjoy the game. And if I don't know I'm going to enjoy the game, and you're not giving me any sort of pre-order incentive, I'm not going to pre-order a game. Which is
Right.
where I feel the flaw of pre-order exists, is that's why they do that shit with pre-orders. It's because it's because people don't have an incentive unless they know they're gonna buy the game, be it because they're a fan or because they're really excited about the hype behind a game. They're not gonna pre-order. I don't really understand the idea of how pre-order is better than just launch sales, but I'm not a person who studies statistics for a living, so what do I know? Um,
having knowledge of a sale beforehand is always a good idea.
which I
It
guess
just lets you plan accordingly.
I guess that's the logic behind a pre-order, but even so, I
Yeah. Each
can
pre-order is technically a guaranteed sale, even though you can get a refund on pre-orders, but most pre-orders are a guaranteed sale.
yeah.
Therefore, you can plan how much fan interest there is in a game.
Yes, but you know
I
what?
understand.
I feel that you don't need that to figure out fan interest. You can do shit like like polls. Um, you can look online at forums and things and judge the general tone of discussion being done about an
Hold
upcoming
up,
game.
there's a big problem there. I will espouse that I really think I'm really interested in Hyrule Warriors, and I'm very interested in the Smash Brothers on Wii. I'm not getting those games though.
No,
So therefore, I am not a sale, even though I would act like I would
no,
be a sale.
no.
That's the
But
problem. You have to force people to put down money, or people will be. Yeah, I'm cool for that, but when it comes to it, I don't really want to spend the money on that compared to everything else. So
no,
it's kind of
but
hard.
but while I am not getting your money, I'm still probably getting the money of four other people who said yes. So I'm not going to assume that all five people who said yes, I'm going to buy this game, are going to buy this game. I'm going to assume one or two don't buy that game. So as long as I get three or four people out of those five that bought that game, I'm considering my statistic validated. That's how statistics are supposed to work. It's not supposed to be, oh, so many people already bought our game. I predict our game will do well. No shit. That's not statistics prediction. That's you justifying your job with bullshit. Pre-orders is a marketer. Basically, this is how I think pre-orders came out. There was a marketer who was supposed to do statistics for whether or not a game was going to sell. He decided, instead of doing his job and building a math model of some sort to predict how well the game's going to sell, he decided, you know what? I'm going to propose we sell the game before it actually launches, and then I'll just say that depending on how many people bought it, we're going to do good or bad. It's it is the epitome of a lazy marketing statistician justifying his job with, well, pre-order sales say this. Well, you know, technically making any pre-order sales whatsoever is going to say positive. So you've just perpetually justified your job, sir. Congratulations, you're lazy, but you're also a scumbag. I
I'm
mean,
actually a fan.
yeah,
I'm actually a fan of pre-orders. I enjoy doing it. I think it's a sign of goodwill to the developer that you like the game and you're gonna buy it. Also, I'm always a fan of pre-orders in the case that it gives you physical objects. I love the idea of pre-orders giving you physical swag.
I
I
love
like
that.
like
I like
the
little
like the
models
scarf
or I
that
like
comes
posters.
with Hyrule Warriors.
Yeah,
I know you really want that,
in,
Hunt.
in-game things are cool, but I love real life swag. Like I have in my room a small little minion because I pre-ordered Overlord 2, And I just like having those little things. It makes me feel like I got something for
Yeah.
showing. It's like an investment.
Swag's
Let
okay,
me explain
but
it. Like
I
it's
I'm kind of in the middle of that. Swag's okay, but my innate anti-scumbag mentality says that unless I'm the one making the money off of that swag, I'm gonna hate the swag. I mean, you could call me a hypocrite for that. Great, I'm a hypocrite. I'll be the first one to tell you about that. I hate spending money, but I would love to be the guy who's extorting the money out of other people.
I always
Wouldn't
think
most
it,
people?
Yeah,
I always
exactly.
think
Wouldn't most people? I hate when people are like, well, that's a scummy thing to do. Well, I guarantee if you were the one doing it, you wouldn't think it's scummy. So, yeah, I disagree with it, but I still want to be that guy who's doing the scummy.
Mhm.
I always think of it as if it's an investment. I put money in in an unknown currently, and if it turns out good, sweet. I got a good game, and I got something back because I put money in something that's
Fair enough.
untested.
While you have that for your thing that makes you like it, the one thing I will say that does make me sometimes like pre-orders is the ability to preload. Because I do a lot of my gaming on Steam, and because of the annoyance of everyone trying to download a new game at once on Steam, giving people who pre-order the game the ability to download the game up to a week or two in advance of the game's actual release, but not being able to play it, is good because it saves me the headache of having a near zero connection speed to the download servers when the game comes out, which means that I'll actually be able to play my Steam game the day it comes out. Instead of waiting like 4 days for the servers to clear up for people trying to install it. So that's my sort of thing that will lend me toward a pre-order is it on Steam, and will I be able to preload it like before it actually comes out? If it's only a day before, I might not because everyone's going to be trying to install the day before who pre-ordered it, which could be just as bad sometimes as day one installing a game on Steam.
Yep.
But that's my little tidbit on what I do and don't like on pre-orders. Um, Anything you want to add to
Now,
pre-orders, John?
nah, but I think we can very easily segue into the two previous topics combined: pre-ordering DLC. Yay or nay?
Pre-ordering DLC.
I would
Ah,
say.
These are
See,
season passes.
okay.
while I do like
No, no,
pre-ordering games for certain
hang on,
things,
Don. I want to call Flux out on something. Pre-ordering DLC and a season pass are not the exact same thing. Therefore, fuck you. Um, because a season pass usually denotes either free DLC in a plural sense or a discount on all future DLC. That is not the same as pre-ordering DLC.
You're paying the money to get the DLC. You're paying. No, that's actually what it is. You buy the season pass, and therefore you get the DLC free. Therefore, you've paid up front for the DLC before it's even made.
But hang on, you're missing out on the point that a season pass usually costs less than the combined total of the DLC.
Yeah, it's still pre-ordering that though, even for a
It's
discounted price.
it's pre-ordering for a discount, which is very very different than pre-ordering an actual product for full price. I mean, if we're talking pre-orders at discounts, yeah, I love when a pre-order gives me a discount. I did that with Civ 5. When I got Civ 5, I did the pre-order where you got a discount in Civ 5, and you would get I think Gods and Kings was free when it came out because of that. And then you got a discount in Brave New World when it came out, if I recall, if you pre-ordered Civ 5. Also, hello, person in chat room. Um, so yeah, I will say that. So if a discount's involved, I think it's very different than if it's just the actual price. So I will not consider buying a season pass a pre-order on DLC. I will consider a season pass a pre-order on discounted DLC. And we shall split the difference and split the hairs as well that way. If we're going to discuss
Okay.
something, I'd rather have it be as clearly defined as possible.
Okay, yay or nay?
Um, that's tough for me because there are bad pre-orders and there are good pre-orders. Um, Yay, if it looks like I'm actually going to get something from the pre-order that's clearly defined. If it outright says exactly what's coming in the pre-order, then yes, I will usually do a season pass because it's usually cheaper than getting all of those DLCs that are included or covered by the season pass. I'm not a big fan of the all DLCs are discounted season passes. I usually tend to lean more if I'm going to do a season pass. I find the ones that give me X number of DLC for free more enticing, even though I don't know what those DLC are going to be. Sims burned us on that, as I recall. Sims 3 did so many DLC free season pass, and they gave you like the absolute smallest DLC of everything that were only worth like a few bucks each anyway. And then they did the big DLC. They weren't covered by the season pass. So everyone just kind of sat there and called bullshit. And EA just said, "Fuck you." That's what we did. Definitely Borderlands did it well. Saints Row did it well. I apparently can't carry anymore. There we go. That shield out of the way. Bam. And I'm trying to think of what else did season passes that I actually have played and can attest to. I didn't get it. I didn't get it, but the season pass for Colonial Marines looked good. If only because it gave you the only things besides the pre-order benefit in that game that was worth it. And that's the pre-order benefit being the sharp sticks, by the way, for those who don't know. I love the sharp stick DLC. That gun is amazing. Yeah, I think that DLC gave you that season pass gave you the map packs and pretty much everything but the minor story DLC that dealt with the stuff that led up to the events of Colonial Marines. That filled in the gap between Alien 3 and Colonial Marines. Let's see, Flux, what other games had season passes that you can think of? I know Civ 5 did, didn't it?
What?
No, I don't think Civ 5 did one.
Civ 5 didn't
No.
do a season pass? They should have.
I don't know.
They should have. I do not like Civ 5 DLC. I will say that right now. I love Civ 5. I love the expansion packs. Fuck their DLC and having to pay $5 for a civilization. Civilizations which inherently break the game, by the way. From everything I understand, Korea is just bullshit.
Who?
Korea.
Oh my god, yes.
And, it's $5 to get Korea, and then the game's not even challenging anymore because Korea's bullshit. So, fuck the DLC for Civ 5. I love the game, but their DLC is horrid. They just didn't do it right. Let me think, what else has season passes? I don't think Arkham City did that. I don't usually play this sort of games with season passes, so the topic of season passes is not one I can really speak too much about.
There's Dark Souls.
Okay, yeah, Dark Souls 2 did a season pass.
I can't say that I never played Dark Souls.
And they established outright what their DLCs were going to be, and when they were going to be released. And so far, from what I've seen, they've been doing pretty good with that. Borderlands 2 has a season pass. Borderlands, the pre-sequel, has a season pass. Borderlands 2 did the season pass amazingly, and will always be the people that I'll point to for season passes. And Shadows of Mordor did season passes. I believe the Call of Duty games do season passes.
Fair enough. I'm sure Call of Duty's off in a corner somewhere having fun with that. I couldn't give a rat's ass.
According to Wikipedia, Six Flags does season passes.
Six Flags does do season passes, actually. Not worth it depending on your Six Flags. As I learned from Lord Cat, his Six Flags apparently charges you $5 per ride once you've already paid to get in the fucking place. Yeah, that's bullshit. Apparently, you gotta pay for parking like you do at any Six Flags, and parking's always ridiculous at Six Flags. You gotta pay to get in, and of course, it's Six Flags. You gotta pay fuck tons to get in. And then they make you pay for every ride you go on. It's like a fucking carnival where you have to buy the fucking tickets. It's always an odd number of it's always an odd number of tickets, and everything always costs an even number of tickets. So you're always left at one ticket, and the need to go buy more tickets.
Yeah, that's why
Yeah.
I like the amusement park near me, sort of, per se,
Oh,
called
same
Callaway
here.
Park. It's just a flat entrance. And
Yeah, that's
then,
what mine is. It's free parking. Very inexpensive entrance fee. I mean, it's cheaper after 5 p.m., but even during the day, it's only like $35 per person. I think it goes down $10 after 5, so it's only 25 a person at night, and it looks better at night anyway because they have like this giant Ferris wheel that fucking lights up and everything. They got lasers on top of the elevator style ride. It's a great time. But no, apparently their Six Flags is just bullshit. The Six Flags in Jersey is apparently just complete bullshit. Granted, it's the Six Flags in Jersey. I mean, if it wasn't bullshit, I would accuse Jersey of having lost their game. Excuse me. But yeah, no. Somehow we got on the topic of Six Flags. Flux somehow pull us back on topic. So I'm
No.
destroyed. This is another one of those cases where I think our topic looked much better on paper than in execution.
Season passes for Six Flags, yay or nay?
Um, if it's Six Flags New England, then yeah, totally, I'll get the season passes. Granted, um, you'd have to throw in like discounts or free weekends at like a local campground or something, so I can have a base camp because I don't live close to Six Flags New England. It's like 4 hours away. I'm not gonna drive 4 hours there, go to spend the day at Six Flags, 4 hours back, and do that every fucking weekend.
eh, I think the game Black Flag had some season
Oh
passes.
yes, Black Flag is a season pass. That actually looked like a good season pass. I don't have Black Flag in my Xbox at the moment, otherwise I could look it up. But I recall it giving a bunch of free DLC.
Yeah.
I think the season pass gave you the all of the finder and all the accelerator DLC basically. The accelerator DLC, by the way, all of it's bullshit except for the one that just gives you the advanced plans for your ship. Because Frank, I don't know, paying $5 for it to reveal map locations when there's already a built-in way of revealing map locations seems kind of pointless.
Yep.
I, I don't know about the rest of you, but I don't want to pay $5 to reveal every location of every whale on the map when I can just go take over every fort and do that anyway. I mean, granted, it'll probably save me like an hour of sailing around, but you know, that's an hour I'm having fun anyway, so I don't feel like I wasted that time. Meanwhile, you can the diving stuff can go fuck itself. So the idea that I could just pay $5 and get the advanced blueprints is amazing. Yeah, I think the season pass gives you that. I believe the season pass also includes the DLC for um Jackdaw's quartermaster there, Attaway. Was that Freedom Cry?
Yes.
Yeah, Freedom Cry. I believe their season pass also includes Freedom Cry. And at that point, I think the only thing that wasn't included was some of the cosmetic DLCs, like having like all the Reaper sails and the Reaper figurehead and stuff.
Yeah, I believe so.
So you'd still have to buy some of the cosmetic DLC, but you'd essentially get the DLC that accelerates your gameplay greatly by revealing everything on the map at the beginning of the game, as well as giving you all the normally hidden advanced blueprints to upgrade your ship with, and a whole actual like gameplay DLC where you get to tool around as a black dude freeing slaves. So that's a good season pass.
Yeah.
I actually would get that season pass. I believe I was eyeing it back when I was still playing Black Flag. As it is now, the only thing I think I would get, because I'm so far along anyways, I think I would just get Freedom Cry on its own at this point. Because I've already revealed like 90% of the map anyway. And yeah, I think we've exhausted this topic already. How long have we been talking? 39 minutes about. So
Or rather,
wow.
I've done
Look,
little talking during this.
you've done
I'm
little
sorry.
talking. This, yeah.
I'm sorry.
I blame Flux because this was one of his many, many, many topics. This should have been combined with other topics, I believe. And this should have just been one tiny, tiny like 10-minute segment of a larger show. And somehow we've bastardized any idea of that into a full length show almost. And I apologize. That's 2 train wrecks in a row. I'm seriously going to have to figure out how we're going to combine some of these topics now because I think just doing these one topic episodes is not working.
No. But
Nah.
have we talked about the difference between expansions and DLC?
We have not talked about the difference between expansions and DLC.
If there is or not.
Yeah, that's also going to be a short topic, so I guess we can close out with that and then just let this train wreck finally end and start the body count. So expansions versus DLC. Do you consider DLC expansions? Yes or no, Flux?
Depends on how big it is.
Yeah, that's the issue with every single question we've had this episode. Depends on how big it is. I guess that's the underlying issue with DLC. There's no uniform sizing for DLC. I mean, it could be everything from here's a cosmetic item that does nothing to here's a massive boost to everything you could possibly hope to do to an entire actual expansion to the game. And there's no defining thing on what constitutes what is and is not a DLC based on size. So I guess you can say yeah, some DLC are expansions.
I will say,
where will you draw the line? I guess that's really the only thing you can say at this point. Where's the line between a non-expansion DLC and an expansion DLC?
I will argue, this is my line. DLC just adds something to the game.
Okay.
An expansion pack adds a whole new experience to the game. In a sense, like it doesn't have to be a completely different experience, but it adds something worthwhile. Like I'm gonna go for Oblivion. I played through Oblivion and I love it, and then I got Shivering Isles. My God, that was beautiful.
I have a counterpoint to make.
Yes.
I'm going to say this as intelligently as humanly possible. Bullshit, you're splitting hairs. You are literally splitting hairs with that definition.
Oh, I know.
So I call bullshit.
I never said it was a thick line.
That's not even a line. You've taken what was a line and you've turned it into a one-dimensional thing. You've taken
Like I said,
you've taken a two-dimensional object and split it into a pair of one-dimensional objects at this point.
That's what I do. Break the universe.
Yeah, universe is crying at you. You feel ashamed of yourself.
But yeah, that's what I say.
I feel the difference is, if you're going to add a significant amount to a game, and what constitutes significant, granted, will vary from game to game. You know, something like Binding of Isaac is going to have a very different definition of a significant update than something like Diablo. If your game is, let's say it's quest-based, adding a quest is DLC. Adding a chain of quests is a minor expansion. Adding a whole new act to your game is a full expansion. Because I believe there is such a thing as minor and full expansions. Half expansions, if you will. That they're bigger than a DLC, but they're not an expansion. I would say that some of the things in Mass Effect definitely qualify. Let's see, what is it? the Batarian DLC there for 1. That's not a full expansion. The what's that DLC for 2? The DLC for 2 that adds the thief character. I would consider that an expansion because it adds a character and it adds an entire story arc to that character in the game that didn't exist previously. Um, the stuff with the Shadow Broker, I would consider that an expansion. Um, again, going back to 1, Pinnacle Station, definitely a DLC. And so that's kind of why I think there's 3 sizes of DLC. Um, Flux, any thoughts while I'm just kind of floundering here to fill out the last few minutes of time?
No.
Okay, just go let me flounder.
Yeah.
Okay,
Alright.
then
Fuck you for last week.
So that's Flux's final thought.
Flux's final thought is "fuck you" for last week. Well, the road works both ways, Flux, because you spent this time with us as well. So
Yeah.
you're only wasting your own time at that point, Flux, because I really don't care. This is a train wreck. I am amused by how horribly this is going.
I don't know. How much time do we have left?
If I can find my thing. 45. We're at 46 minutes, so I suppose we can officially call this an episode at this point.
If you want.
I mean, we can maybe go another 5-10 minutes.
Well, how about demos? Do you want to? What do you
Okay.
feel about demos?
Yeah, let's talk about demos for a minute. I enjoy demos when the demo actually is relevant to the game being released.
Yes.
I have played a number of demos where it's like, okay, this is the demo, and then you played the game, and you're going through the game, and you're wondering, why is this nothing like the demo?
The demo.
Yeah, I don't like that. I'm trying to think of a prime example. Unfortunately, it's been so long since I played demos.
I just downloaded the Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire demo.
I'm surprised those are even doing demos.
Oh, yeah, they are. And what I like about this demo is that they're, when you complete the demo, they're going to allow you to
Yeah.
transfer the few Pokemon you have in there into the actual game.
Well, that's what I liked about Mass Effect's demo. For I think it was Mass Effect 2's demo that did that. The demo for Mass Effect, no, it was the demo for Mass Effect 1. Not 1, 3. The demo for Mass Effect 3 was the intro section on Earth. And you could carry over that intro section to your actual copy of Mass Effect, so that you didn't have to create a new thing. That I liked. What I did not like, the quote-unquote demos for Saints Row 2, 3, and 4. That were just character creators, and essentially a dress-up game that you could have just as easily found on Newgrounds, probably.
Yeah.
So, there's that. Um, Batman did well with their demo, because, again, Batman's demo was the beginning of the game. It let you basically start the game, get far enough into the game where it's kind of taught you the mechanics, and giving you the tone of the game, and then turned you loose.
Yeah.
That's what I feel DLC should be. Dragon Ages 2's demo did that as well. It does it does that whole beginning area where Varric's telling the story of how you escape Ferelden, complete with his both lying version and truthful version, and then it skips ahead to an Act 1 quest in Kirkwall with Isabella. It's slightly modified in the demo version, in that it's longer.
It is certain that we face the demon.
But you can still tell when you get there exactly which quest it was when you actually play Dragon Age 2, which was kind of fun for me to realize, oh, I finally caught up to the demo again. That's doing it well, because that not only showed you early game how to play the game and what the tone of the game is, it gave you a chance to play late game for a minute and have a character who had gotten up to like level 5, level 10, and had a range of abilities, and it gave you an idea of what each class was, because in the demo you could play through all 3 classes, which was interesting because it kind of gave away the fact that you only have it only gave away the fact that one of your siblings dies, it gave away which siblings hang out with you and which don't, and how their class changes based on what class you are.
If this is true, then I
Yep.
fear for us all.
But
But that's such a minor thing
Kill
to
her,
give away that I could forgive
Sally
it.
becomes a permanent
Um,
outpost of hell, and the way east.
you know what I don't get? Demos that you have to pay for.
yeah, pay demos. I don't get that.
No, why? Like,
Um,
if I buy a game and it comes with a demo, I'm fine with that. But
another
paying straight up
thing,
for a demo,
I'm gonna get out of the game at this point. Another thing I don't like about a demo is a very, very short demo. I don't like demos that they basically they show you just enough of the game to tell you like, hey, this is how the game works, and that stops. I don't like demos like that. I like the demo to give me a chance to play around with teaching me how the game works. Like here's how the game works. Play around with it for a minute, and then um, decide whether or not you want to buy the game. It's been years since I played demos, so I apologize that I can't think of off the top of my head which ones I did and didn't like specifically. But
that's fine.
that's generally the styles of demos I like. Is the style of demo where it it, it shows you the finished product. That's another thing. I like a demo that's far enough along production that you're at least playing a beta build, a late beta build. Because there are demos that have come out and it clearly feels like an alpha build of a game, and you can tell that everything in this demo is not going to be there when it comes out. And you just sit there wondering why they even put a demo out.
Yeah. And those games that never get past beta stage, or game. Oh, how about you pre-buy the game and play it as it progresses, and then it never gets
That's
made?
something else I think we should talk about, Flex, real quick. What are your thoughts on Steam Early Access?
Hold up, I think I had that somewhere else in here.
I know you had that somewhere else in here. I'm bringing it up now because I don't want to do an entire episode Steam Early Access.
No, there wasn't a whole episode to it. Where is it? No, that was part of a Kickstarter episodic gaming.
Okay. I'll give you my thoughts on all of that in one sentence. I don't like them.
Not even things like the same Max episodes.
See, that's the thing. I like some of the games that have come out of it. As a concept, I don't like it. Because as while you get the gems like Sam and Max, while you get the occasional challenging and fun game like Banished, which frustrates me to no end, and I can't wait till the workshop finally starts getting content in it so I can start cheating my way to actually being good at that game. You also get things that just never leave alpha or just never leave beta and get abandoned. For every two games that come out of Kickstarter and early access that are good, that are finished, there's 50 more that just take people's money and then get dropped by the wayside because they're essentially indie game versions of pump and dump companies where they're taking all this donation money that helped make this game. They're barely using any on the game itself, and then when people start getting complaining that the game isn't out yet, the game just stops being developed and the developers drop off the face of the planet. And they just laugh to the bank with their money. Then they start up a new company with a new name because they were anonymous the first time they did it and repeat.
Yep.
That's why I don't like it. I don't like the sort of practices it encourages, and that it's okay to abandon a game mid-development because I'm bored, or because not enough people like the game. These childish reasons for abandoning projects that people have paid money, sometimes recurring money, into, and then have no payout for the people who helped you make this game. That's why I don't like it. And that's my final thought on that as a topic. There, we've just scratched 2 episodes off the list right there. The one we're on and the one I just talked about.
You're welcome.
You're welcome, fucks. I destroyed your entire topic and an entire rant.
Welcome to Ranting with Sovic.
Ranting with
Starring
Sovic.
Sovic.
Hang on. I'm gonna go through. Hang on. I got this list. Hang on. I'm gonna scratch through this one. Format, strike through. Now I'm gonna find that one that I just talked about on Kickstarter. Let's see. You don't have a Kickstarter one. You have one on indie games.
Indie games.
You know what? I don't play indie games. There's my thoughts on indie games.
You don't play much indie games?
It's not a conscious decision. I rarely see an indie game cross my new on Steam list or come into my sphere of hearing, if you want to call it that or whatever. And I say to myself, "Hey, that looks fun." Um, very rarely does that happen. I also don't really pay attention to indie developers, so I don't even know which developers are indie developers or who's behind these indie developing studios. I only found out who the fuck Notch was like a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And even then, that's like the one guy I know. So, there you go. If we're gonna bring up indie games in the future, Red Fox should probably be here because I think he gives more of a crap than I do about that. Um, yeah, let's see. Hang on, how much time we got left? 4 minutes.
Yeah. So,
4 minutes. Let's squeeze in episode 21 graphics in here if we can. Zahn,
all right.
should the race for better graphics end?
We are getting to a point where our eyes are not being able to detect the higher grade of graphics.
I
So
agree.
I think we are reaching an end until we, as human beings, can develop better
I
eyesight.
I semi agree in the sense that I feel that we're quick. We've hit, if not soon to hit, a plateau where
Yeah.
there will be no real big boost in graphics until the next big thing in realism
Something.
that is discernible to the human eye comes out.
Yeah.
So I feel like they should stop trying to one up each other in graphics because all it's doing at this point is choking our computers
Yeah.
and selling ridiculously more expensive graphics cards and just kind of plateau for a while. We've hit the end of the line. It's time to wait while the Chinese guys go make more tracks for us. Um,
Yeah.
and good graphics required for a game. By all means, no.
No.
Um,
And screw publishers that make games so high end graphics and yet you can't reduce the graphics at all.
Now hold up. I will fight this one.
I hang on. No, I just want to put an add on before you say that, Flux. Zahn, I agree with you. And on that note, fuck Ruse and fuck Ubisoft. There is no ability to make Ruse anything less than console grade. That's their minimum setting, is what it looks like on Xbox. That is retarded. Okay, Flux, carry on.
Things like Dwarf Fortress, graphics aren't needed for a good game, but damn if they don't help
No,
you ease you into a
no.
better game. Dwarf
Graphics.
Fortress could be the most amazing game ever, and I will never, ever, ever try it because it has shit graphics, and I can't have no clue what's going on the screen.
The
Well,
reason why I can't
you
play Morrowind.
you have
Yeah,
to
same
understand
thing.
ASCII. Now, here's the thing. I believe that you don't need good graphics in the sense that you don't need top of the line. What I do believe you need are graphics that at the time the game comes out are good in the sense that you can discern what the fuck you're looking at. Um, but at the same time, Flux, you have to remember when Morrowind came out, that actually did look good. As sad as it sounds, when Morrowind came out, that was the epitome of, oh my god, this is amazing and realistic. I still remember when Oblivion came out, and Oblivion looked amazingly realistic. I look at it now and I wonder how the fuck did I ever think those noses were realistic? Everyone's got like these
God,
giant.
those noses.
Everyone's nose in Oblivion's a potato. That's just how I
It's
look
like,
at
oh,
it.
I like my character look from the front, and then I look from the side. I'm like, what is this
And then I
thing?
realized my nose is a shaped potato in the shape of a penis. Or looks like Abraham Lincoln's head or something. It's just my nose is horrid. Um, yeah, or just anything about the face structure and really in Oblivion looks horrid. But at the time it didn't. Um, the best example I could think of. Look at Mission Impossible for the N64. One of the worst aged graphics in history, and yet at the time, people were taken aback at how much like Tom Cruise that main character looked. These days, I can't even tell it's a man, let alone Tom Cruise. So before you say older games look horrid, bear that in mind. And Dwarf Fortress, I mean, not everyone can understand ASCII graphics. I don't understand ASCII graphics. That doesn't mean I hate an ASCII graphic game for being ASCII. So that's my 2 cents. If you're gonna do 8-bit, do decent 8-bit. If you're gonna do cel shaded, do decent cel shaded, but it doesn't need to be super top of the line. It just needs to be stable and discernible. I mean, again, like we mentioned earlier with Sam & Max when we were talking about games that came out through Kickstarters and indies and things. Sam & Max, not the top of the line graphics, but it's still fun because you don't care about the graphics of Sam & Max, it's the jokes. Um, let's see. So I'm looking through my list now for games with different graphics. Brutal Legend, not the most top of the line graphics in the world, still a fun game. Let's see. Any given Naruto game. Not the best graphics in the world, still fun if you like Naruto and fighting games. Even Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat usually isn't top of the line. It's usually higher tier, but it's never the top of the line graphics. They Mortal Kombat's smart enough to tone it down enough where all their blood and gore is discernible, but it's still using a higher end graphics engine.
Yep.
But it's not using the latest graphics engine because the latest graphics engine, no one really wants to pay for that. Um, Saints Row definitely not exactly the most top of the line graphics, but fun. Um, let's see what else is on my list that's fun. I can't really say Batman because Batman did go top of the line for its graphics. So did
Right.
well, I don't know. LA Noir did. It's hard to. Would you qualify LA Noir as top of the line or not? Because really,
Yes.
all they did with LA Noir was focus on the face models.
50% of LMR is its graphics. The other 50% is story. That's all they have going for it. So they
Okay,
made sure
I will
it's the
take that.
best they could do.
I will take that on LA Noir then. Hey, Monkey Island. You know, Monkey Island, not the best looking game, fun as hell. Even though I still can't get past the first few puzzles because I'm an idiot and I was half tired when I tried to play that game. Hell, Strong Bad's a cool game for attractive people. Amazingly fun game. Its graphics are flash. I mean, the list goes on. I'm just looking at my list. Yeah, there's a bunch of games on my list that are not top line graphics, even when they were new, and they look good. They look good and they're fun. Certainly, I feel that good graphics can make a game more immersive and enjoyable, but don't overdo it. It shouldn't be the focus. I guess is what I'm saying, and that's my 2 cents on graphics. And let's see, I only went 3 minutes over our time with that, so bam. I wiped out three topics in no, I wiped out three topics in one show. I wiped out two topics in like 15 minutes. So strike through graphics. We might come back to indie or artsy fartsy. I don't know. Depends on whether or not Red Fox wants to do that. So I'll leave that unstruck through. So yeah, that was our show. I hope people enjoyed. Obviously, if you're watching live, you know where to find me at twitch.tv/SobeckOniverse when I feel like streaming. Not as much as I used to, sadly, but you know, every now and then I still pop on, play something once in a great while. Uh, Also with me is Flux, who you can watch at twitch.tv/Fluxon, and Zonraiser, who I don't believe has anything at all. He's just a friend who hangs out on Mumble, who filled in for Red Fox this week. Red Fox, although he was not here, you can usually catch weeknights Monday through Friday at twitch.tv/redfox_nightfox in the evenings. Um, Unfortunately, his internet has been derp, so he has not been around much. But it's gonna get fixed. So check him out there whenever his internet gets fixed. If you want to support the podcasts or get me to stream more often, because it seems so petty as a thing, but whatever. You can support me at Patreon at patreon.com/SoviconEvers. And I hope you all
Alright.
enjoyed. From myself and the others, goodbye, good afternoon, good evening, good whatever.
And night.
I knew you would do that, so I waited to stop. Someone was gonna do something. It's always you or Flux every time I end the stream or whatever. All right. That's only Mumble that's actually stopped recording. All right. Since I do have my stream, do I want to do anything else with my stream tonight, or do I just want to go back to playing Dragon Age? I don't know. I guess that's it for my stream for tonight then. Excuse me.
Oh, Silvik, I have to show you the Tales of Drago.
Oh yeah. You can show me that you can get the link for me while I'm closing OBS when I find it. There's OBS. Bye, stream.